Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone tonight? I hope you are all doing well. Let's see, have we. Let me just share this out and then we will get into some coloring. Digital coloring. Okay, so we're just going to put this on Discord. There's Discord. There we go. Okay, so let's see. I guess we need to switch over to this. Hey! Now brought to you in Extendovision. Good one, Timothy, good one. So this, of course, is the piece that I drew up last night. So let me reduce the canvas size here. Now with next natural male enhancement based. Okay, so going to convert to the opacity of the brightness. Do, 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 do. And yeah, the reason Metal is not here at the moment is he's still overdoing his stream. So that's good, of course. Side effects, maybe. Becoming Canadian. Yes, I'm wanting to become a world conqueror. But doing a very bad job at it. Yes, Mother?
Just looking for the spoon.
They're out that way, I believe. Took them out. So is this character like Elastic Man? In the fact that he can stretch, yes. Or Mr. Fantastic, or I think you mean Blossom. What's up, Linda? Says Timothy. As she said, she was looking for a spoon that I had in here earlier. So, in the infamous words of the Tick, spoon! Okay, so let's do this. Let me look up. But this guy is a bad guy. His first appearance is, I believe, in The Flame, #2. He's in the middle of a heist and he gets some chemicals spilt on him, and which greatly improve his mind capacity, but at the same time gives him the stretchy abilities. Oh, you mean like Toxico? What do you mean by I mean like Toxico? No, Toxico wasn't in the middle of a robbery. What is it with your universe and chemicals spilling on people? Hey, Sketchbook! Hola, am I late again? No, you're just on time. We started a couple minutes ago. No, Toxico didn't get anything spilt on him. He was shot and left for dead in a toxic waste dump where people dump their toxic waste chemicals and stuff and who knows what else. This guy would be more like the Flash, except, not, some forensic scientist. He's like a two-bit thug at the time, just a paid guy to go and do something, or rob a place or whatever, and for something, and him and his buddy are doing it. They're horsing around a little too much, and chemicals spill all over him. Like they knock a shelf in the. Here, I think I got it on. I wanna. Get his colors easy. Where, hey Lorenzo, where Toxico was more of a family man that got in debt to the mafia. Here, I think I got the actual. Oh, this is extended. Let's see whether we can do this. Read this at the same time as doing stuff. Okay. So his real name is Philip. He had some stones to mess with Michael Corleone. Yeah. Let's see, we need layers. Okay, so yeah, Philip as a young boy, with his father never being around him. It all started for Philip as a young boy with his father never being around him. To his father, his work was God. Then his mother would ground him for weeks at a time for just looking at him the wrong, or at her the wrong way. Yeah, he'd be like Mr. Fantastic, but a bad guy, evil. Although I'm not quite sure whether he's supposed to probably be as smart as Mr. Fantastic, but I'm not sure whether he actually is. Or Plastic Man. Uh, the wrong way. This made it difficult for him to make friends. His teachers at school always gave him a hard time for no reason at all. When Philip was 12, his father lost all their money and the house on a bet. At this, he took off with another woman and left him and his mother stranded. Over the next year, things got even worse for Philip and his mom. Then one day, coming home after school, he found a note on the kitchen table saying she had left with some door-to-door salesman. Yeah. Well, even Mr. Fantastic can do, because of his stretchiness, can do anything Kamala Khan can. And probably better. He probably just a lot more he's a lot more intelligent, so he can figure better ways to use his powers. Oh, the wrong way. Did he want to kill his father? No. No. You know how kids like look at their parents like, oh, I don't know. And then again, it might not even be the wrong way. It's just her perceiving the wrong way. You know, like giving the evil eye or whatever you might want to say. Now, out on the streets, he had to survive the only way he could think of, and that was to steal. Never having stolen anything before, on his first attempt, he got caught and was sent to an orphanage. When it was found out he was abandoned. And hello, Marsupial. Okay, so I forgot to put a line here. I need to put a line there. Kamala Khan is rather a new character. She's just a teenager, just learning how to be a superhero. Yeah, well, they've had her around long enough. Nobody's impressed by her. At least nobody that reads comics is. Or very few. And after being placed in the orphanage, he determined he did not like it there, so he ran away and ended up in the city of Montreal. So, you know, I don't say where he's from. He could be American, technically. Could have crossed the border or something like that. Who gets sent to an orphanage these days? He would be sent to juvie. Yeah, it could be juvie, an orphanage, whichever. He runs away. I've been told that drawing Kamala Khan aged up and in a sexy is oppression of Muslims. Uh, Shortly after arriving there, he joined a street gang where they taught him to steal properly and how to fight. Several years went by and he made a real good buddy or two in the gang. He also became the best thief in the gang and one of their best fighters. When he turned 20, he decided he no longer wanted any part of the gang life and fought his way out along with his buddies. No longer in the gang, they hire themselves as freelance thieves and thugs. Kamala Khan. Sucks. Or should I say Image 170 was told that on Twitter. Uh, on a job, hired to steal some chemicals from a laboratory, him and his buddy did some horsing around and they ended up bumping into a shelving unit. At that point, a can on the top shelf ended up tipping over and spilling its contents onto Philip. With this, they quickly got what they had come for and got out of there. Kamala Khan's existence oppresses Muslims everywhere. Uh, is Kamala Khan shown in comics as being an apprentice to Carol Danvers or Captain America? I think that's what you mean, apprentice, not appearance. I could be wrong. I'd say neither, but I'm not 100% sure. Apprentice to Captain Marvel, I thought. Says, when she first finds out about her powers, I don't think she ever met Captain America or Captain Marvel. They should show younger heroes being mentored by older ones. Yeah, that's a possibility. But unfortunately, most of these heroes, unlike say DC, where Batman takes on the kids that he mentors, or he's taken them on, adopt them, or become their ward or whatever beforehand. You know, um, uh, they should show the result in countless Me Too suits. Says Dillard. And hello, John. How are you tonight? She realized about her powers after getting shot by Snow. I don't think so. Um. Anyways, where was I? The contents quickly seeped into the pores of his body and started altering his body. Uh, yeah. In ways that he couldn't even imagine at the time. The first was in stretching his mind, making him smarter, and that of his ambitions to the extent of wanting to be ruler of the world. As he began to express these new ambitions, it scared his buddy, who took off with no distractions around him. Rick, do you use a tablet when working on digital art or a mouse? Here, I'll show you what I use. It's sort of a tablet, but not the best tablet. Where am I? There. Do do do. Oh. I'm upside down. Right there. There's my tablet sketchbook. And of course, I don't mean stretching his mind literally, John. Didn't put it back. Let's see. How do I have the energy to host all these live streams? I get worn out hosting one or two per week. I don't know. Well, the thing is, I don't think I'm doing much on them. I'm just drawing, So, and watching the chat and trying to respond to it. So, that's not too much. I'm just getting the basics of this done. I'll go in afterwards and then I'll go in and get the edges better afterwards for each layer. You must be way better at multitasking than I am. The thing is, I don't have to do too much. I don't think, anyways. You know, it's just looking over a little. It's having, I think that part of the key is having a good setup. As you see, Lorenzo, or just on my tablet, is, here, let's show this again. My tablet's right there. My TV monitor, there were drawings right there. So it's literally me. And then, of course, just right over there is you guys talking. Blah, 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 blah. Loving it. Like I said, with no distractions, he began to plan his global takeover. He concluded that he would need a weapon of great power. So he built just the weapon. But as it was about to be finished, it needed a power source of great magnitude. Though through some contact, he contacted the underworld crime boss known as Cornerstone, who had come into possession of a new element. And hello, Metal.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How'd your show go overall? I was there for some
It was a
of
fun
the...
episode, I guess.
Yeah, talking about video games, right?
That wasn't all we talked about, but it is primarily what we talk about on that show. As you know, video games are probably the most popular form of entertainment on the planet right now.
Yeah.
They overtook the movie industry.
Well, I think that was easy.
Yeah. Well, they overtook the movie industry years ago before it crippled itself.
Well, I mean, even right now, like, there's practically no movie theaters open.
Yeah. But look, let's see. It overtook the movie industry, I think, in like 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether you read my comment, but right now it's like, yeah, everybody wants the new systems because they're locked up with nothing to do.
Yeah.
Rick, thanks for the like on my morning sketch. Oh, no problem. Sketchbook. If anyone else wants a sub or host streams, let me know. I'll check out your channel. Cool. That was from Sketchbook. Well, you know about the Vomitorium, right, Sketchbook? That's Metal's, one of Metal's many channels.
Many, yeah. I'm actually working on a video for one of my other channels. It was supposed to be bigger. I kept asking several people. After I remind somebody like 2 times, I'm just not going to remind them anymore. But I was supposed to do a show called What I Learned In, and we were going to do one about the lockdowns. I think I'm just going to hurt it a little bit by doing only 3 parts instead of the 4 or 5 that we planned. And I'm just going to reshoot my part to fill in the empty space. edit it and get it up as soon as possible.
Cool. Marsupial said to say hi or whatever when he was away for a bit. He was here.
Says, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, that's what got me. Yeah, I think Toxico has better design than this character, honestly. Yeah, well, they're all gonna have different designs for sure, Timothy. Sketchbook is saying he does not have the vomitorium in his thing. So if you want to put you have a thing. So if you want to put a link in the chat for the vomitorium.
Yeah. I'll go grab a link for the YouTube channel. You can say hi. I'm wounded.
Well, I said hi to him. I didn't say hi to you. For you. I sort of forgot asking him how the vomitorium went.
Well, I was supposed to say something at the end, and I completely. It's because I had to pee. I couldn't focus on what I wanted to say. As soon as I used the pop back in my head, and it was that I'm scheduling people for my one-on-one show. That's part of the Vomitorium kind of brand called the Hypogeum, which is the old Roman word for the underground, and it's the area beneath the Colosseum, which now you can see fully. Since the boards that covered the main part of the arena are gone, as we see all those pillars that supported the boards. The Hypogeum's completely easy to see.
Yeah.
But that's my other show. It's a one-on-one. So if there's anybody who has something interesting they want to talk about, something that they're passionate about, maybe they have a project, doesn't matter. You could schedule the Hypogeum, and we can't do less than an hour. If you can do an hour, that's fine. If you want to go further, that's fine too. We could schedule the time. But for the show to really fill out, we got to do an hour for that.
Yeah.
I think when Jason was on it, we did like almost a whole 3 hours on it, like we did the normal show. And that's just because that was what he was comfortable doing.
Yeah. Lorenzo said, I've heard allegations of people's PS5s only for the ordering PS5s, only them to be stolen by shipping companies. Sketchbook says, dang, that's low in stealing them in transit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree too. Getting that stuff stolen in transit. It's not good. But,
and as is the tradition, because of bad scheduling, it's Wednesday, so I'm eating steak on your stream.
I think I might have to stake you for that. Or do you think I should stake you? Because you're staking yourself. Hey, Mallet! And yeah, I got to Calamity's show. I'm looking at the stuff. I haven't signed up yet. I'm not sure whether I get it completely, but I'm in her Discord now too, so.
You're talking about Calamity Cap?
Yeah. Timothy says he'll keep that in mind, and the stakes have never been higher. Damn it, Timothy, you beat me to it, says Marsupial. Sketchbook says, Marsupial, did you see the place where the two greatest gladiators fought. You know, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. Says Timothy. I don't know why he's laughing so maniacally. Lorenzo says, I've heard allegations against Best Buy, Amazon, FedEx drivers stealing consoles. Not just PS5s, but Xbox Series X's as well. Well, that's probably why Bullet can't get his console. Everybody's stealing these consoles. I don't think Metal is smoking any doobag or whatever.
Doobage?
Doobage.
I think he's talking about a doobie. No, if you want to talk about that stuff, you have to go talk to my brother. I don't smoke.
Oh, that's good. I don't smoke either. Actually, nobody smokes. Everybody's just a sucker.
Yes, my brother does partake in the devil's lettuce, as Ned Flanders would call it.
I love you, Spartacus, says Marcipio. I think that might be because of this guy's headwear.
Oh, I have nothing against people who smoke weed, or drink beer, or anything like that. In fact, if they do it outside and I don't have to get secondhand, I will even hang out with my brother's friends when they smoke. Personally, it's not that bad of a habit. I just think people should remain in their house for doing it and shouldn't operate heavy machinery while doing it too.
Yeah.
Or their own yard. Just away from getting other people affected when they don't want to. Because it is an ambient drug, you know. You could get secondhand from people.
Yeah.
How many people ever operate heavy machinery anyway? Every day. It's called a car. Which, of all things you could be operating a car under, pot is not the worst. Most people just end up driving slow. But I have seen the occasional accident while somebody was high. Dude, getting into a vehicle like a car is the most dangerous thing you'll do every day. It's just a risk that we've all decided to put up with. And it's one, you know, it's not that bad of a risk, honestly. But if you're going to die, you're most likely going to die in a car crash, statistically speaking.
Yeah. But let's see. Now I would not be doing anything after smoking weed, said Timothy, but I have not in 5 years, so I guess he hasn't smoked any weed in 5 years. I say that's good.
Actually, funnily enough, there are more car accidents when people are driving slow than when they're driving fast. Though, that's no excuse for people who like to take any substance and drive fast, because your reflexes are not what they should be.
Yeah. I would concur. The unfortunate part is most of them think their reflexes aren't impaired. Timothy says that's exactly metal. Sketchbook said, I just can't stand when someone can't function without it. Having a best friend like that annoys me.
Yeah.
Marsupial says that's heresy. Everyone knows COVID is the most dangerous thing ever in history of mankind. Yeah, not.
Well, thankfully, due to COVID, our yearly car fatalities have been down
Yeah,
because there's just been less people on the road.
yeah, everything's down this year. Like crazy enough, I seen the statistic. This year there has been less deaths in the U.S. than last year.
Yeah, but there's a counter side to this too. As you would expect, it has to find some balance.
Yeah,
Um, Home-related deaths are on a rise, and
yeah,
there are certain things that usually are very low, but have spiked up. And some of them people called me crazy for, but I correctly called. Starvation-related deaths are on the rise in the United States right now because of overcompensation for COVID.
yeah. People are so because of the media making people so afraid to go out.
Yeah, and there's a few other things that have some people have had deaths that are related to necessities that they need that they've just haven't been getting due to COVID.
Yeah. Other thing, suicides I think are up too.
Yeah, no, COVID is totally survivable, even with underlying conditions. One of the things they don't look at is, especially when you're looking at people who are
Yeah,
80 or above, which tends to be the biggest fatality rate, is that most of these people have a very low life expectancy at this point anyway. Anything could have taken them out.
yeah,
The average life expectancy in the U.S. for, let's say, men who are disproportionately affected by COVID is like 71 anyway. So when you see like the average fatality for somebody with COVID is 78, it's like, well, they were already past the life expectancy average anyway.
yeah. And then most likely
Doesn't mean they couldn't survive, but you're drawing cards and rolling dice at that point.
Yeah, most likely because as we know, most of those people unfortunately were in nursing homes and they had a lot of already pre-existing conditions. So so yeah, maybe they could have got another 10 years, but maybe they would have only got another 2 days. It's hard to know. Nobody can know really, but
This is true, Lorenzo. But even the rates at which that has been happening, where he says COVID can damage one's heart and lungs without it necessarily killing the person, is also being over-exaggerated when you look at the statistics on that. And did you know the flu can actually do the same thing?
I could believe that.
They're making this seem like it's something unique to COVID, which there's a higher rate of this happening because of the way that the COVID virus is physically designed.
Yeah,
But a bad flu infection, as part of the whole mnemonic system, can actually destroy your lungs.
yeah. Or
A flu shot doesn't help you. Of all the vaccines, it's the most worthless one. Most vaccines are actually fine. I'm not an anti-vax guy. There's good science behind vaccines. They give you a dead shot, a shot of dead viruses, so your cells can be used to the structure and stuff, and they know how to fight it off once it gets there. The flu shot, though, is basically worthless outside of maybe just an immune booster, as in getting your system prepped for a possible incoming disease. For a number of different reasons. One, the flu, one disease. There's several different things that are the flu that we just call it. And each one of those, it's a highly adaptive system disease. They're all in that general corona category. It's a highly adaptive disease that changes every single year. There's better things to prepare for the flu than taking a flu shot. Would I still recommend an elderly person get a flu shot? Maybe, just because your system might function better if it's already anticipating a disease.
Yeah. Bill says, or so they say. I'm not sure whether, I wouldn't say I'm an anti-vaxxer, you know. If somebody wants to get one, sure. For the most part, I probably wouldn't, because, and maybe I'm a little bit too conspiracy theorist in this regard. You never know what they can be putting in it without your knowledge.
Yeah. Like things that aren't highly adaptive, things that are basically just the same disease and spreads, and some of them almost been eradicated, like, say, tuberculosis. That is an excellent thing to get a vaccine for. Like, you're not having to worry about that mutating too much, and even if it does, it'll probably still be within the capability of your system to handle based on the information that it has.
Sketchbook says most flu shots have a low chance of working because the flu can be different bugs and they mutate even in the same season. Basically what you said. And
you're immunosuppressed.
The strains are different to fight the flu. Says, I know it's not the most reliable vaccine as the flu keeps mutating, yet I'm immune suppressed. Okay.
Well, honestly, even if you're immune suppressed, I'm not saying don't get it, because, again, the shots are dead viruses, so they can't really do anything to your system other than prepare you. You're still more reliant on everyone around you being more prepared for the virus than you are.
Yeah. The other thing I think is, getting all these vaccines, and maybe this is more personal, not conspiracy theories. I think it takes down your immune system. Myself, I have no.
I know a lot of people think that, and I've heard their arguments for it. A lot of it's mostly anecdotal. The problem is you don't know everything that's affecting your body.
True, that is very true.
Right. At any point in time, including the vaccine, it may have an interaction with something. You could be allergic to something in the vaccine too. Most of it's harmless stuff, but different sugars and stuff have to be put in there. Immunocompromised really means you have to rely on everybody else too. You might need to get it, but it's still not doing much for you. You just have to make sure everyone around you doesn't get sick. That's why everybody gets vaccinated for schools, just in case somebody is immunocompromised, and the herd immunity just stops you from catching it because nobody's getting it. And so nobody can spread it. What was I getting at, though? Oh, so you don't know everything that's in the shot. Some of it could have a sugar you're allergic to or anything. That could also make the vaccine just not very effective for you. You don't know what's going on in your system at the time, and it could be completely coincidental as well, that you just happen to get sick the same time that you get a vaccine.
Yeah. I'm not talking about people who get sick at the same time.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have no proof because I've never really looked into it, but I would think it doesn't help your immune system to me, it doesn't help your immune system be able to fight it off at later points. By itself, learning to fight it off or whatever. I don't think I'm.
Well, this isn't learning to fight off. So you put a dead vaccine inside your body, right?
Yeah.
So that it can learn off of. It's basically like studying for something ahead of time. It's almost like grinding against low-level creeps, so that when you have to fight the bigger wave later on, you already can beat them.
Yeah. Marsupial says, my immunosuppressed girlfriend has to get the flu vaccine every year. Luckily, she got COVID and came out just fine. Marsupial also says, her method is to never be around people. Luckily, she hates people. Besides, we laugh out loud. That's the deal with the coronavirus. Even if it's okay for most people to catch it, it can be deadly for me, says Lorenzo.
Yeah. So, and I agree with this too. That's totally how the science lines up, right? That you have to deal with the other people might be fine with this virus, but like even the normal flu, it could be lethal, like absolutely lethal to somebody who's compromised. As a society, if we're going to make any provisions for anyone, it should be those who are at the highest risk, like people who are have compromised immune systems, people who are elderly. And if those people need to stay home, that's what we should have done.
Yeah.
And that's a handful of people compared to the bulk of society, that it wouldn't even be a detriment on society to make some provisions for those people.
And no, Timothy, I didn't miss what you said. I thought, no, the metal had already said it somewhat, but what Timothy says, the flu shot only protects you from 5 out of 8 strains of flu. And actually, there's probably more than that.
Yeah, well, because what people don't realize, and I think it's because we don't teach this in school, even though we should in some type of biology class, the flu is not one disease. And most of these diseases that we hear about being tragedies in the past never actually went away, right? Or some of them, we figured out how to mitigate them so we don't deal with it, like the Black Plague still technically exists. It's just in a state where we don't have to deal with it. You could still contract it from rats if you end up with like a... it's more of like a feces problem and stuff. If an area gets too dirty and the rats start eating the feces, then fleas bite the rats, and then they jump on you and they bite you and they transfer the disease. This is why there were a case of the bubonic plague in Mongolia not too long ago, and there was threats of typhus and typhoid, not typhus. Threats of typhoid and threats of bubonic plague in San Francisco recently. Even though we haven't had a confirmed case, but we know it could happen. A lot of these diseases don't actually go away.
Yeah.
And the Spanish flu is one of these things that became part of the flu. It just kind of... like tetanus, yeah, it's everywhere. The Spanish flu became part of what we call the flu now. It just kind of like adapted to the point where it wasn't killing everyone.
Yeah.
It's still around, And that's what the flu is. The flu is several different things in the same family that has the same that we all just call the same word. And these diseases, they don't want to kill you. I mean, they're not conscious of anything, but they don't want to kill you. Because all living things goal, and viruses do fit the qualification for living things, despite what your biology book might want to say. All living things' goals is to get their DNA as far into the future as possible. So it wants to be able to adapt to the point that you can spread it effectively. And if you're dying, you're not spreading it effectively. Because basically what viruses did was they gave up their own reproductive ability and their own eating and consumption abilities and stuff to be able to use a host to reproduce because it was more efficient for them. And if their host keeps dying on them, they don't reproduce effectively. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that actually comes back to what if it was a man-made thing? Well, the problem is it would be really hard to make a man-made virus less adaptable than a normal virus. If anything, you might accidentally make it more adaptable. And the more adaptable it becomes, the stronger a super virus becomes, the quicker it might burn out into a case where it just becomes a normal flu.
Yeah.
So what you would expect to see is like a really, really early burn off of like a bunch of infections, and then like this kind of hyperbolic trend downward to where it's still infecting people, but the symptoms are getting less and less and less very quickly. And that's actually kind of what we've been seeing with this thing.
Yeah. Marsupio says, "Did you know bees and dogs can smell fear?" Well, dogs, yes. I might have known about bees. I'm not sure.
Did you know pigs is as smart as dogs? Dillard says pigs are very intelligent creatures. Yeah.
I guess I can believe that.
Yes, Lorenzo, I was aware that a variety of COVID was being experimented on in a laboratory in Wuhan, which is why people think this is a modified organism. And the thing about it being modified doesn't mean they were intentionally trying to release a super virus. They've been. I'm trying to remember the exact procedure. It's. Man, the name's escaping. But basically, what it is when you take effects from one thing with its DNA and you insert it into another organism.
Yeah.
Just to see how effective viruses can be. They do these experiments all the time. There's a specific name for it, and it's bothering me that I can't remember it.
You'll remember it eventually.
Yeah, like with the thing that I said earlier, I'll remember it as soon as this is over. And it doesn't matter anymore. But it could be an innocuous experiment.
Yeah.
But then something accidentally gets out, and then somebody who is working on it carries it to somebody else. Yeah. And if it can pick up things really quickly, though, that means it's highly adaptive. And if it's highly adaptive, that means it's going to innocuous even quicker than your average disease will.
Timothy says, "Did you know your ears are the highest holes on your head?" And Dylan's like, "Yeah, but associating with ferrets and gay. Get a manly pet like a gator." Lorenzo's. They were studying viruses. If it got loose, it was accidental. Timothy's like, "Nah, a gator with missiles strapped to its back." Or gator with hairy manly arms, man arms. And Spitfire says, Timothy. Marsupial says, "What about a ferret with lasers attached to their heads?" Sketchbook is, "What? Marsupial? No, ferrets are as smart as pigs." Marsupial says, "Don't tell that to my ferrets. They've killed for less." Sketchbook. Where I come from, ferrets are belts and hat dressings.
Oh, did you know that ravens are smarter than all of these animals?
I can believe that, I think.
The magpie is the smartest bird, but not by a large degree. Everyone in the carrion family, like crows, ravens, magpies, and stuff, are all pretty intelligent.
What is with this?
Oh, Lorenzo is aware of Brett Weinstein as well. I really like Brett. I watch almost all of his stuff. He's a good biologist, very intelligent man. And evolutionary biologist Brett Weinstein thinks it may very well be a virus that got loose by accident, but he also thinks the scientists outside China should work with the Chinese lab and other labs. I've been watching his stuff, so I'm aware of most of what he thinks, but it's a good thing to bring up.
Yeah, the question is,
He's actually.
I was just going to say, the question is would China work with labs outside of China?
I mean, they do all the time.
They do.
Like the one thing that China's not so uptight about is the scientific research, and it's because they know it benefits them. You know, they get stuff for free by working with other countries.
Yeah, stuff for free is always good, right?
Or practically for free. Obviously, everybody's putting money into it.
Yeah. His sketchbook says, if birds are so smart, why do they run into glass? Because they can't see so well?
Yeah, and I didn't say birds were smart. I said some birds were smart. Some birds are stupid.
Like the birds that, nest around your house that run into the glass or fly into the glass.
But it is mostly a vision thing. Their vision isn't good at picking up reflections like ours. But actually, chickens aren't as dumb as you think they are.
Then again,
they just have different priorities. You could teach chickens tricks, actually, like to backflip and stuff like that.
Then again, even some people run into glass too. So
yeah, some people do.
So birds running into it isn't. No different than people.
I've seen dogs and pigs run into glass too.
Yeah. I think I've seen every type of creature. Well, I haven't seen personally, but I think every type of creature would run into glass at some point. Let's see.
One of my favorite bits in Tommy Boy is as they're leaving one of the offices, he doesn't realize that one of the two sides is glass, and as they're both looking like they're walking out, Chris Farley just goes straight into it.
Sketchbook says CCP don't do nothing by accident. It was manufactured. Many Chinese have proof, and they were doing it, knew it was going to be released. Timothy says, I like chickens. Lorenzo says, I hope the vaccine manufacturers working with various labs that studied the virus. Well, I'm sure they were studying the virus too, Lorenzo, if they weren't working with other labs that studied it. Because you can't make it. I was going to say, you can't make a vaccine without studying it, so.
The problem is, this is actually one of the worst vaccines that you could try to intentionally release onto one of the worst viruses you can intentionally release onto a population, unless you were 100% confident that fear-mongering could work, but that means you'd have to be in on it with a bunch of different nations. Like, the conspiracy gets pretty big at that point. So like I said, something like this becomes highly adaptive and really bad at controlling populations unless everyone on the top level is actually in. And I know there's that Great Reset theory, but if anybody's not in on the Great Reset, I'm going to assume it's China. Because their interests are at odds with everyone else's. They actually stand to lose the most from the Great Reset when you pull it down onto paper.
I don't even know what that is completely. I've heard it in the last couple of days, but let's see. Sketchbook says chickens are awesome and tasty. Timothy's like, yeah, I can't back that up since I used to have a couple of chickens. Lorenzo says Big Bird is in particular is fairly stupid compared to an adult human, but I'm not that sure. I'm not sure of his age, supposed age. Sketchbook says roosters are really loyal to owners when treated well. Timothy says, "What the heck is the Great Reset?"
Oh, okay. So the Great Reset is this. Actually, this would actually be more of a conspiracy theory than what people call a conspiracy theory, because most things that people call conspiracy theories are hypotheses at best. This one actually has some pretty tangible evidence that there are people conspiring to make this happen. But it's the idea that a bunch of world leaders, I'm not talking about political world leaders, I'm talking about the rich people that actually line the pockets of these leaders, in their own interest, would prefer to basically just reset everything, societally speaking, where everybody's under the same rules, so that'd be like the US would be under the same rules that the EU is on and stuff like that. Kind of keeping things the way things are now, to where there is no money. Everybody's provided for by these the governments and the richer thing. Basically a huge wealth transfer. And having a society not too different from Star Trek, because it's in the best interest of rich people. The issue with that, though, and why China wouldn't like this, even though a lot of their society is very similar to this already, their society runs and operates the way it does because it relies on the consumerism of and freedoms of every other society around it. China, while they hate America, as long as we weren't being imperial, loves the way we operate as a country because it benefits them. Which is also why they've never tried to start a war with us. They don't want things to change. And of course, everything about China is the status quo. It always has been. If you look at the history of China, the Chinese people, and every single empire that's been in China and stuff, even if they've had slightly different ways of operating, their whole thing as a society is keeping the status quo. That's why communism was able to succeed so well there until they actually ran out of resources and people started starving. But when they started bringing in some more capitalistic aspects again to be able to provide for people, nobody questioned it, because everything was still keeping the status quo.
Yeah.
That's how Chinese, I guess the principles of their society work. Their culture, generationally, the wisdom that gets passed down from people. And that's actually where the big difference between societies is the type of cultural wisdom and attitude that gets passed down from generation to generation. Usually through fairy tales and other practices, festivities. They would suffer the most from something like a Great Reset.
Well, part of that Great Reset actually sounds like it almost comes right out of Revelation. I think it's Revelation. You know, the one world government, one world monetary system and all that. One world religion.
Yeah, that's kind of what they eventually want.
So,
how is a raven like a writing desk? Well, they both peck for hours at end.
so step on everyone's right is what you're saying.
Well, these people don't believe in rights, right? In fact, a lot of these people, it's not that they don't care about you, believe it or not. I mean, they don't care about you as an individual, but it's not like they don't have some sympathy for people. They both have inking quills. Yeah, that's a good one too. they have their own self-interested way of looking at the world, right?
Yeah.
That Bloomberg actually said it pretty good. Poor people make poor decisions. And if nobody had any money and they made the decisions for you, you would be better off. And this is literally how these people think. They have a very aristocratic, elitist view of the world. I mean, so far COVID actually has been the biggest wealth transfer from the poor to the rich in the history of mankind. And part of it comes to the closing of small businesses. And people only being able to buy things from these big corporations like Walmart and Amazon and stuff like that. And even though when people aren't working, if your government does give you some type of stimulus, which is very not ideal because that money has to come from somewhere, or they can devalue the currency and the only people who have anything are these large corporations. So it's another case of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. Who do you spend this money on? You can't go to a small business to keep the circulation of money inside your community. You have to go to these large international businesses that are absorbing all of these funds. Not that I hate these businesses, I just hate this practice right here.
Okay, which foot? You mean that foot right there?
Oh no, the virus isn't fake. This is fake at all. This is it's capitalizing on a bad circumstance. It's like the opportunity came up, so they were going to seize it.
Timothy, it is. Well, it's even further than leftists. This is where the leftists are getting their ideas.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
I'm pretty sure I had it in March. I know for a fact Marsupial had it. He was tested too. It's a real thing. That doesn't stop the greatest wealth transfer in human history from also being true.
Let's see. What? Right foot. If you're talking this thing right here, that's a hand. Let's see. What?
Well, there's a right foot up in the air.
Or in back. Let's see. What's? I'm trying to read sketchbooks. It does, Rick, but remember that will set up the transfer of worship to one being. True. The false prophet to the beast, and the beast to the dragon. Satan always wants to be God.
Yep.
Be God as
Left
is.
Rick, do you know your left from your right?
Well, I do.
Not the foot that's on your right side, the right foot of the character.
Yeah, I gotta flip it. I look at it, and I'm looking at it. To me, this one, I'm thinking the left, but I've got to flip it to the way that he would if I was facing the same way as him. And this would be the left,
Yep.
and that would be the right. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually agree with you that, Lorenzo, that some people prefer the term corporatism. I prefer the term corporatism because it's not really capitalism when you look at it. What's funny is that some of the most capitalistic countries on the planet that function like real capitalism are some of these countries that idiots call socialist countries and aren't. We're looking at some of the Scandinavian states where they don't even have minimum wages. And they have a healthy welfare state, but that safety net is being held up by the fact that they're heavily capitalistic and have the funds to do so. So that's just something their society decides on. Think of all the countries in what you would call Scandinavia that even has a minimum wage. I think it's the Netherlands just put one in place, and all it does is determine minimum monthly salary. It doesn't determine hours or how it gets dispensed. You just can't hire somebody if you can't give them that much a month, which I'm still kind of against. But it's not the worst way to do it if you're going to put anything in. And it was only done for COVID, to make sure people could get through it. Oh, dude, yeah. Full corporation, which we're going anyway. Yeah, I want to pilot a Gundam, too. Gundams are awful, horrible things. On land, they would be great in space, though. What were you going to say, Rick?
Oh, I know. But yeah, it was only made for COVID, but you know it'll continue afterwards, right?
Oh, yeah, because once you give anybody power or something like that, they don't want to take it away.
Yeah. Well, it's like my mom says, I think before the Second World War, there was no income tax. And then suddenly after, the Second World War brings it in, and then, it's never gone away.
Sweden is very capitalistic. I wouldn't even say corporatist, even though they do allow corporate structures. Sweden also has a very, very healthy small business sector that, while most of the money is in corporate structures, there are more, by amount, small businesses than there is corporate structure in Sweden. They're very, very healthy. And yeah, one of the reasons there are so many small businesses is because their social programs are all privatized. They just kind of they funnel the money where it needs to go, but everything's private contract and stuff like that. The only problem with those countries is that the taxes are so high. And that's why people don't want to be there, other than the people that already live there. And they're very identitarian countries. Not against other people, though, believe it or not. They don't care about outsiders unless you're from one of their neighboring countries. They're very, very prejudiced, racist, whatever you want to call it, against the people they have to share a peninsula with, specifically the three on the same peninsula. In Finland or Norway. They hate each other. But they're fine with people outside of it.
Nationalistic.
And that just goes back... Yeah, it just goes back to just centuries of fighting each other for territory. Some things are just hard to lose. But yeah, none of those ones that I mentioned though, as well as Denmark being the other one that people consider part of Scandinavia, they don't have any minimum wage whatsoever.
Hello, Marshall.
Oh, hey, Marshall.
Let's see. Sketchbook says, what on land? They rock with certain controls or the suits from Full Metal Panic, and you can be my wingman anytime, Metal. Timothy says, Norway rules. My grandfather's father was from Norway.
Why is everyone suddenly hoarding mason jars?
They're really good for storing things. They might think the world's coming to an end. I don't know. There'd be other things I'd be hoarding first, but they are good for storage. Especially if you want to make your own preserves.
Apparently hipsters are hoarding mason jars.
Well, hipsters don't know anything, so I wouldn't follow their trends.
Who chimed in? Sorry, Marsupio. I was just going to say to Sketchbook, Marsupio chimed in. He went from the chat to the panel.
Apparently, dead minks infected with COVID are rising from the grave.
I don't believe that, but that's funny.
It was reported on USA Today, so you know it's true.
Oh, yeah.
I
today again. Let me look. That FX.
I replied that the ferrets are going to have to rise up and take care of the zombie mink problem. These are all things that we could have talked about on Vomitorium, but we ran out of time.
Yeah. Well, that's why we need to, I don't know, maybe be more planned.
I'm just kidding.
The regulars could come in anytime they want. I didn't expect Steven to randomly jump in.
Oh, it's fine. I was just joking.
Yeah. We can talk about anything on the platform. I don't care. In the old version of the show, we used to talk about politics and stuff all the time. I even have it labeled as one of the tags on there.
These are things that I just looked up just now, or that popped up on Twitter. So I definitely didn't have them on the agenda for today. Oops. It's minks, not minks.
Let's see. Sketchbook said awesome about Marsupio being on the chat or on the panel. I'm pretty sure that's what the awesome is about. I could be wrong. You can correct me.
Is that what happened to Minerva Mink? One of my favorite Animaniacs characters.
Must have been.
Yeah.
Got COVID, died, came back as a zombie, got shot by a ferret. Obviously.
Yeah, I started watching that first episode of Animaniacs. The new one. I didn't get through it all. It just wasn't that entertaining.
What's weird is USA Today, which, I mean, all of these people know each other, so they're going to chime in anyway, is actually one of the news networks I looked up that isn't owned by the same corporation as CNN. Or Fox. It's not News Corp either. It's Gatehouse Media. It's a completely different entity.
Lorenzo says USA Today labeled a video clip I posted on Facebook of Biden calling the troops stupid bastards for not clapping as missing context.
Well, maybe they should have clapped. We also had happened with Jeb, right? He had to ask people to clap.
Just as long as they didn't get the clap. Or maybe he wanted them to get the clap.
Well, in today's brave new world, why not?
I feel like I should take a picture of every pun from Animal Crossing and send it to Rick.
Dude, the Animal Crossing actually has good puns, though.
Yeah.
They actually think about it, you know.
I was
You
diving
can
and
improve Rick's repertoire.
I was diving and I caught a sea cucumber and I said it's quite cumbersome.
Yeah. You know, it's one of the worst ones, but it's still charming. Is in New Leaf when you catch a squid, and it's like, oh no, you squiddn't.
Oh. In this one, when you catch an octopus, it says they can give you 4 hugs at the same time, or something like that.
One for each pair of arms, yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't send dog penis pics.
I wasn't planning on that. Also, when you catch a sea anemone, it says the enemy of an anemone is my frenemy.
Yeah. Sketchbook says, ooh, STD joke, Rick.
Oh, Mario Maker 2 is on sale. Huh?
That's a good game, yeah.
Yeah, if you like it. I'm not gonna get it because I'm not I don't know, creative enough.
Well, you don't have to be creative. I think the network is still running for it, so as long as it runs, there's plenty of things to play. There's a lot of creative people for you.
Oh.
You know who's really good? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I should remember.
I was gonna say, you know who's really good for doing Mario Maker 2 live streams is DGR. A guy named DGR. He's hilarious. He's awesome too. He's great at Mario. And he does streams where he basically tries to find the hardest, 0% complete Mario Maker 2 levels and completes them. He's really funny. He's on Twitch, but he also puts his videos up on YouTube.
That was actually one of my problems with finding news to talk about today on the Vomitorium, is that most things were just like, here are our Black Friday sales. And some of them were worth it. I probably should have mentioned them. Because some of them were like Nintendo games. Nintendo games almost never price drop, so if you could pick them up on a Black Friday sale, it might be worth it. Like, I think Luigi's Mansion was 50% off.
Oh my gosh, like, there's dozens and dozens of games on the eShop right now that are on sale.
Yeah.
That's why I'm considering picking up another Final Fantasy on Switch. Maybe 12. Maybe I should pick up 12.
Oh yeah, dude. Zodiac Age? Great game.
Since I've never
Highly
played it.
Oh yeah, I found out Metal number 11 is still up and running for Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
11 is a subscription service if you don't play on a private server, right?
What was that?
Hold on.
It's a subscription service. You have to pay for it.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I mean by it's still up and running.
So Lorenzo says Link's Awakening. I love Link's Awakening. If it's on sale, I'd get it. It's awesome.
It is.
It's a little different from the original Game Boy. I mean, it's very different. But it's basically...
It's as close as it can be with some extra time filler things added in there.
Yeah, I mean... But it's quite different. They've improved it a lot.
Yeah, it's improved. But they didn't want to change too much of the core gameplay aspects, because you know how much people bitch about that.
Yeah, and I love the aesthetic. I mean, when it first came out, everyone was like raving about how awesome it looked. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've heard some people complaining about it. I don't understand that.
It's great.
I think it's really cute.
Especially, it's got like the shadow box look, right? Even the edges of the screen, if you're really paying attention, they're kind of fuzzed, so it looks like it's depth, and it looks like you're looking down at like the shadow box with this clay little world made for you.
Yeah, it looks almost like claymation.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really hope that they do the same thing with Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons.
Yes, I do too.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, but Rick, what I was saying is, unless you play on a private server, which is really easy to get onto a private server for 11, if you know people, that was my problem, was trying to get on that. You still have to pay for a subscription service.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I was saying, because you were talking a while back about us possibly doing that, and then I just happened to go looking for it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you had said about the private servers, and so I thought, okay, maybe this thing is like, City of Heroes. So, but found out
no, it's running but unsupported.
So they just don't update anything, you mean, on it? They don't do any new updates?
They don't update. Honestly, if there's even like a problem with it, to fix anything anymore. It's just kind of running. They do regular server maintenance, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, you're more likely to get something fixed if there's a bug from people who privately mod stuff on a private server.
Oh, okay.
Because they have 14 now. Why do they care?
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised to find it still running. I thought, with the way that you had said it, that it wasn't running still. I guess because of the private servers, thing, so.
As far as I know, Lorenzo, there's still no mods for Skyrim on Switch.
Oh, you can't mod on the Switch at all without possibly losing your Nintendo Network account.
Well, like on Xbox, I think They're actually like you can download mods.
Yeah.
For Skyrim.
Well, if you're talking about the what's it called? They have a name for their store. There's like a store. A lot of things are free. Some things aren't. There's some premium mods. The store's awful.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a disgrace. And they're even trying to charge you for some things that somebody else made that should be free. If you're going to play Skyrim, there's two options. You play it on the Switch because you don't care about mods and you just want it to be mobile. And then maybe you don't have a laptop that can play it. Or you just play it on the computer like a real man.
I got it on Switch because I'd never played Skyrim before, ever.
Yeah.
And so I like it. I like it on the Switch. But, in retrospect, I mean, if I had thought about it before it came out on Switch, I probably would have gotten it on Steam.
And you don't even need the special edition. You could just get the original version of Skyrim, and it runs on like really low-end computers by today's standards.
Yeah. My only problem, and I don't know if this is the case with the PC version, but on Switch it's very floaty. Like I float right by the enemy that I'm trying to attack. I'm like, damn it, I missed.
Oh yeah, no, the game is just floaty in general.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Remember how we talked about the engine and how they just keep, instead of like making a new one, they just keep overhauling it?
Yeah.
That's one of the consequences of how they've decided to overhaul. You can see a trend between the games too, and it's almost like gravity is lightening up with each time that they do it, because I don't think they understand properly how to change the physics to be able to increase like jumping ability and stuff like that. And
okay.
But yeah, like it like unlike something like Breath of the Wild, where you kind of like as soon as you stop moving, you stop. With this, it feels like you just keep going, and I'm like, you need to stop ahead of time if you're gonna like run up to an enemy.
mm-hmm. Can't stop on a dime.
Right.
And I know what Sketchbook's talking about. The Macho Man mod in Skyrim is funny. It is the best thing about that game if you ever install anything. I don't know if you've seen it. Right? So, what it does is it mods in all the dragons are Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
And even the first time the dragon comes in, because you have to deal with that first dragon at like the beginning of the game.
That would be funny.
I had to sneeze. The first dragon you end up fighting in the game actually plays Disco Inferno in the background. And it's like he's all elongated and stuff to fit the dragon's proportions, but he like has sound bites from Macho Man in it too, so he's going like, "Oh yeah!" all the time. It's great.
Say, snap it to a Slim Jim.
Mm-hmm.
So is this Elastic Man or what?
Extendo.
Oh, okay.
And he is a villain. If you probably can't, well, you probably wouldn't know that he's a villain, but
Yeah. Every time he breathes fire, he does that. That's great. I love that mod. There's another good one, but you can only have one of these mods at a time, obviously, because they conflict with each other. There's also a Thomas the Tank Engine mod, where it replaces all the dragons with Thomas the Tank Engine, and it even plays like the theme, the dun 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 dun, during the first encounter, and you just see like this train coming out of the sky at you, all awkwardly. Oh man, I love it.
crazy. Those are bright colors for a villain. Yeah, I don't know. See, Tango, fine. didn't grab them off this one, so this is another one that I did of them a while back.
Yeah. Have you seen this picture that Sashi did for Vestry
No, I did not.
of Elle? Beautiful. Sashi does the most beautiful females.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's her real strength. I mean, she can do a guys the once in a blue moon that it happens though. You almost never see it, but she is such a great pinup artist when it comes to female anatomy.
Yeah. Here, you want me to put it in the Cross Comics Warriors chat? Gorgeous.
You can just keep them, just darken them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was looking up the Vomitorium's YouTube channel before to post it in your chat, and I just completely spaced out. I even have it in another tab. I should put it in here for people.
Oh, right. Yeah, you were going to do that.
Yeah, I got into a conversation completely spaced out on doing that. And the tab was even just sitting there already on it, waiting. Ooh, that is nice. A little prude for Rick's chat, but nice.
Prude?
Yeah.
Prude or lewd?
Both. In this case, they would have the same meaning.
Oh.
Okay, where did it?
Beautiful. The female form is a work of art.
It is a work of art.
Okay, I thought you said you put it somewhere in my stuff.
Yeah, he put in the Cross Warriors chat.
Oh!
On Twitter.
I'm thinking Discord.
No, on Twitter. Sorry, I hope it's not too racy.
Let's see. Oh, it's not too bad.
Yeah, Marsupial is actually currently my co-host on there. I've been through a few. So Sketchbook said we got a sub.
Cool.
Ooh,
Yeah, but did you hear what I was saying earlier? I actually remembered what I forgot, like immediately afterwards.
Lorenzo, it's up. I would say it depends on if you really want to play it on the go. If you're just going to play it at home, just play it on the Xbox. If you really want to play it on an airplane or something like that, get it on the Switch. It's probably not going to
get a lot for it.
Yeah. Around it.
You know how much I paid for Skyrim? $5.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yes.
I got 2 copies of the game too.
I just showing off that George created his spaceship from his book. 3D printed it. I'm just letting everybody see that.
It's very Star Trek-y.
Yeah. But, it looks pretty good for, I would say anyways. For anybody who likes that stuff.
It's cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd love to see some sort of competition, drown quarter kind of a thing with J. Scott Campbell and Sashi. I don't know Paris Christou. Who is that?
Lorenzo's saying, did they fix any of the bugs on Switch on the Xbox? I had to keep repeating quests due to glitches.
Oh.
Bethesda fix anything?
I don't know of any glitches, but mods for it I would guess it would be fairly stable. I wonder if I've seen people have mods that caused it to crash.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's playing it on. Avery, Illustration Studios 76.2, over on Twitch is playing it, and he's got mods on, and sometimes it crashes on him.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, were you watching that one?
Yeah,
Where he said, "Oh yeah, every time I go to this one place, it always crashes," and sure enough, it crashed.
Yeah.
yeah,
And they're so bad. I know sometimes it's not completely their fault. They're so bad when it comes to fixing things, right? So, like, the PlayStation 3 specifically had a maximum upload limit for patches. And they had a huge patch that was to finally fix, like, one of their glitches where if you go into water, it basically crashes your game. It's a pretty bad glitch for a game that has that much water. And for new content that involved you going into the water. But the only way they could fix it was by putting the patch in the DLC, because that was the only way they could get past the like upload limit for patches. Because of Sony. Like, they fixed it in Microsoft a long time ago because Microsoft didn't have the same limit that Sony had.
So you had to get was the DLC free?
No, you still had to pay for it. That was the scummy part of it.
See, they should have done it in a separate free DLC if they could.
Yeah, they should have.
Goddamn Bethesda. Here's the thing, though. It's Elder Scrolls 6. They're not going to change engines.
No, they're not.
Someone mentioned, maybe it was Sketchbook, that they now have access to, or maybe it was Lorenzo. I don't know. They now have access to other engines. Yeah, maybe for like Elder Scrolls 7.
Well, maybe even having access to other things, they can glean some tips and tricks on how to actually reformat this better. Because they have not been doing a good job, really.
Yeah,
Right.
just because
Like, we were talking on the Vomitorium, I've said, well, they already have id, who makes their own engine for Doom. Why don't they just have them come in there and help them soup up their engine?
yeah.
Because, you know, definitely it's been so long since Skyrim, and they've already made improvements between that and Fallout and 70. Well, there was no difference between 4 and 76. They ran on exactly the same model. But they did have to upgrade it again for Fallout 4. Why don't they just have Doom come in here and upgrade it again? Because they're going to need to have id come in for Fallout 6.
Yeah.
Or not Fallout 6, Skyrim's Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah.
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 Just because they're using.
Is there an Elder Scrolls 5, or is that the online?
Skyrim's 5.
Okay. Are they actually going to do an Elder Scrolls 6? With,
Yeah.
They said they will. They said they are.
It's just a JPEG of the logo on top of some mountains. That's all we got of it to this point. They've kept releasing Skyrim over and over again, but they have said they're going to.
Okay. Well, I also thought with you know, the online one, you know, Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, they announced it. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but
Yeah, the Elder Scroll Blaze for the phone. Thing is a laugh. I saw like a full-size version of it in one of my arcades that I go to. Like it's still the phone game. It's just on a like a touch screen the size of a TV.
oh, yeah. But we've talked about the fact that just because you're using "quote unquote" the same engine doesn't mean these problems.
Yeah, you reformat it over time.
Replace whole sections of the engine completely if they want to.
Yeah. It's like a Theseus ship, right? It does not even resemble in parts the thing that it started as.
Right. Bullet says cancel the airbrush tool.
Yeah.
Well, the way Rick uses it, I agree.
Well, I think this stuff looks better than, you know, the splotchy patches that I was doing with before. I didn't.
But you know what you can do, Rick? And maybe I could show you what to do sometime. Is you can mix the two. You could start out with a shape, then you could go in with an airbrush and find certain parts of the edges that it would look good.
Yeah.
But if you don't know where the shadow should be in the first place, cell shading in hard shapes is just a better practice than going in with an airbrush.
Yeah.
The airbrush should be a selective tool most of the time.
I guess it's like I said, let's see, I know one that I got. You know, let me quickly bring that up.
Why did I just get a pop-up for Cross Comics?
Oh, because
because he uploaded a video.
Oh,
I had to schedule a video for a 2 or 3 minute video of some DC characters I drew a while back, and they were in my they were uploaded already. So I just decided to, at about this time, to put them out every day till I got rid of them. They were just unlisted, because that's the word I was looking for, unlisted. Sketchbook says,
I
why
airbrush
someone...
this all the
Oh, let's see.
so much hate. Well, I was thinking about Calamity tonight, but I think I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Especially after hopping onto another stream.
Yeah.
I know. Well, and being on that Liam stream up until whatever it was, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sketchbooks one. Like, see, I look at this, and this does, for me, this does not look as good as, well, not that, obviously. What I've got there. This looks way better.
Keep doing that.
For the flame, or even for, let's see.
No, Lorenzo, he wasn't on Liam's stream, right? You were just in the chat.
I was just in the chat. Yeah. I realized how that sounded. No, I wasn't on the stream. I was in the chat calling him an idiot.
Even this isn't too bad. I didn't do too bad of a job as far as I'm.
Oh, I like the way that looks way better than what you're working on right now.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
This
That's
isn't
great.
too bad, but this one here, I don't think it looks as good as this
Well,
one.
part of it too is you need to figure out where the shadows go.
Yeah.
But unless you really know what you're doing with a lot of these other brushes, it's just easier to pull off cell shading. Once you figure, because cell shading will teach you where the shadows are supposed to go as well, right? As when you keep applying like another just block down a shape till it looks good, you're like, okay, this clearly goes here. That's your mind being like, oh, that's where the shadow goes, and you just have to keep moving it until it's in the right place. And that's how you learn. This is the same like spotting blacks, right? People who don't know where you should put the shadows for like spotting blacks and everything like that are often really bad at hatching because they still don't know where the shadows go. Kind of teach yourself how to find where the shadows go. You know, it's trial and error. You have to try at it a lot, and then eventually you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, John usually does a good job, but I think I'm better with that airbrush personally, but you know, that's my own personal opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's the odd time I get one that's pretty decent, like you know, Absorb there, but most of the time I don't like how it comes out. Let's see.
There you go, marsupial. I put the actual
thanks.
link in there.
I was going to say, do you got bullets?
I don't know if I follow Bullet. Let's see if I can find it.
I know I have
Dillard
a
has ears of. You know, I just about back to him.
Oh yeah.
I felt bad because I didn't mean to. Well, he said he was. He didn't do anything about it. I still felt bad.
That did not even hear half of what you had said there.
Oh, can you not hear me? Can you
you're
hear me?
yeah, you're roboting out.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was saying he said he was fine with it and he was laughing about it, but I still felt bad because I didn't mind. I was just having a little fun with him.
Oh, okay.
There are too many channels with the name Bullet.
I know. I looked.
I could have sworn I had a thing. Okay, maybe I'll be nice.
Well, I was gonna look if I was like subscribed to him. It would have showed up on my side, but the side panel no longer keeps all of your subscriptions in alphabetical order.
Oh, I hate that.
Heard it though. Let me.
There you go,
Once I don't see-
Bullet.
Yeah, I know it's the J Ryan on Twitter. Maybe that's just what he's talking about is Twitter. Because he said nada. I don't know.
Games on his channel. I have to look. Problem is, I'm subbed to 189 channels.
Oh, that's nothing.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I've got more than that too. I've got like double that. Maybe triple.
Yeah, the real problem is, I actually have gone through several times and like unsubscribed to a bunch of people I no longer follow.
Oh yeah, me too.
But I would have to do that like at the end of every year because I've just built up way too much.
Yeah, I do
Sometimes I go
that.
through here, I'm like, I have no idea who this person is.
I do that every so often too.
Oh, I found it. I am subscribed, but I can't post it.
I gave Bullet a wrench, so.
Oh, okay. I found his YouTube channel. Oh, he hasn't posted anything in a year.
From what I understand,
Slacker.
if you're getting a following on Webtoons, you can make money. Yeah, I'm slowly starting to do that. I actually gotta come up with a script for this week. I'm almost done the one that I was on. Started last couple weeks ago.
Aw, it no longer tells you how many people you're subscribed to when you go to your subscriptions tab. It used to say they're right at the top.
I can't believe Bullet's not following me on Twitter. So disappointed.
I can believe anybody's not following me on Twitter.
He probably was, and then he got sick of my drama.
Especially because I hardly ever post to Twitter anyway.
But when you do, it's gold.
Probably not. Usually when I do post, for the most part, it's just me sharing something that I've made.
Yeah.
And Timothy did say, Rick, what? Timothy, what would you like? Yeah. I'm still a little bit surprised. I put Timothy in the group, and he hasn't used it to come on yet.
It'd probably be for the best.
Yeah.
Because he's got that clicky problem right now because he doesn't have a mouse.
True, true.
Yeah, yeah. Need to get Tim a mouse, especially before. How can we get Tim a mouse before Saturday?
Says, but I was asking about the web to give him the money to go to Walmart. You pick one up for like I think about $15 or less there.
Well, that's actually not that bad. Getting just a cheap mouse at Walmart.
Maybe even $10.
Oh, he's actually working this Saturday, so he can't play anyway.
Oh. Okay, so Evan's gonna have his choice between two people again, Timothy and
Travis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Flit will be back. I think he planned on it. I haven't talked to him since, but well, I talked to him once. I think we were talking as if he was going to be there. I don't think anything else is coming up.
Yeah.
He was just asking me if there was anything specifically about the session that he should know, and he was going to rewatch the replay. So we should be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you probably just get like a really cheap mouse for under $10. But we have to think Rick is thinking in Canadian money.
Yeah. Hey, if it's $10 here, right? It's gonna be cheaper there. Get $50 here. Plus, you can get it for $8. Yeah.
I've got one of those, still cheap, but like mid-grade Walmart mouses. So it was like $25, and it's almost like a Razer mouse. It's got a bunch of buttons, but it doesn't come with a program to hotkey things. So you'd have to go and find someone online, or just use the 1 through 12 for what it's designed for.
Or heck, if you got a place like my dollar store that's near me, which is more, I'd say discount, but everything's $4 and under. I got a mouse there and it works great. So besides, I will only come on when I have something to share. Yeah, Walmart, he says. Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
This guy is really shiny.
Sure, the stuff is shining off him a lot. Or light. I'm not sure.
Is he supposed to be shiny? Is it supposed to have like a plastic texture?
I don't know. I haven't really decided. I'm not saying, Plastic Man might, or Plastic Type you might.
Rick, there's also another way you could do the shading if you still wanted to blend.
Yeah.
Right.
Use the blend tool?
You go and you make the shapes. No, you go and you make the shapes like you would for cell shading. And I don't recommend this. But if you figure out what you're doing, it can be alright. Then you use a Gaussian blur, right? Or Gaussian, whatever you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Filter on the shapes, and it will blur it out. And instead of having things like really hard stops, like where it doesn't filter out, it'll just blur out in every direction from the shape that you made.
Yeah, that could be an idea. I've been using that.
Still not ideal, but it would look a lot better. It'd be a step up.
Yeah, well, I guess I can try it next week. We'll see what it looks like.
I do that sometimes because I don't want to spend too much time on the profile images on the site, and they don't look that bad.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be a specific style.
I have been using Gaussian blur a fair bit for like lighting for when, say, flame lighting and all that hitting the Shield's costume or somebody's costume.
Yeah. So what I do is I'll duplicate my shading layer. I will put a decent blur on the first one. Double the amount of the filter for the second one, so they're layered over each other.
I think I did.
And it gets like a gradiated petering effect.
Marsupio, you want to promote anything there? Okay, Marsupio's mic, I think, went out. Because I can't hear him if he's talking.
And how's that?
Low, but we're starting to hear you.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking. I was just saying my channel, which Metal posted above, as well as on Twitch, Marsupial_gamer on Twitch. Yeah, I've been a lot more active lately, so I'm kind of splitting my time between Final Fantasy 1, Age of Calamity, and occasional random third game.
Cool, cool. And to answer your question, Sketchbook, I am using Clip Studio. So, and of course, Metal, would you like to promote anything?
Oh, yeah. I actually started writing again. I have been working on comics. It's just, it's been taking a while. I hopefully keep saying this, but I'll have a page up soon. But you can go over to xdynamuschaos.com. My stuff always comes out blurry on your end, Rick. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think it's just meat.
Let's see.
But I put the link in the chat so you can see if you can't read my ticker. You can go over to xdynamuschaos.com where I have comics, including a main webcomic, some shorts, and some literary prose that you can read too. You can literally spend hours on the site and still have content to read with a bunch of character backgrounds and stuff. I'm even adding lore about locations and monsters and everything. Go check it out. Maybe leave a tip. Even $1. Anything helps. I work entirely on tips, trying to leave everything as free as possible for people.
Cool, very cool. Yeah. So, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Metal and Marsupial coming on the panel. Thank everybody for coming out in the chat. And if you haven't, go check out my Teespring or my Redbubble. There are links to them in the thing. There's all kinds of Cross Comics merchandise there that you can get, from T-shirts to phone stuff and other stuff. Shower curtains, clocks, depending on which site you're on. So, yeah, we'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye for now. God bless. Have a great and wonderful night. Love you all.